process called synaptic transmission. I just want to say that in the meantime, while this Science of ASMR series is being released, if you are hungry for more traditional whisper rambles for three magical dollars a month, you can join my Patreon, where I have and I make a ton of deeply personal, intimate videos that are more traditional whisper rambles. So if you are interested in peeling back the veil and learning more about how, after 2 decades of deep personal development work, I conceptualize, delight in, and contend with things in my personal life, please join us there on the best possible Patreon. Link below. Now, without further ado, I bring you the science of ASMR, how neurons that fire together get wired together in the process known as synaptic transmission. First off, I just want to say hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I actually expected to lose subscribers doing this series, so it was a pleasant surprise that a bunch of people actually subscribed and that people are interested in learning about the science of ASMR. So that is really fun and exciting. I did not expect that at all. Now, before we get started, I feel like I should confess that I am not a scientist. I am a hobbyist. Unless my Myers-Briggs counts, then I'm a scientist because I'm an INTJ. It doesn't count. I'm just a nerdy girl extraordinaire with a degree in psychology and a matching passion for all things psychology, manifestation, and physio-psych. So that's a little bit about my background. I actually have like pages of notes. This is just going to be a little bit of a whisper ramble regarding the science of ASMR and why synaptic transmission and understanding things like action potential and synaptic transmission are pertinent to understanding the nitty-gritty science of ASMR. So in the last video, we covered the parts of a neuron and the roles that those various parts play in a process called action potential. So when you hear the phrase that neurons that fire together, wire together, that firing is action potential. That's what happens in a single neuron when it fires. Now the wiring, where those neurons talk to one another, that's synaptic transmission. That's what today's video is all going to be about. Now, like I said in that original video, it's not necessary for you to master the concepts in each video before moving on to the next one. And in fact, I don't even recommend trying to do that, although honestly, I am a nerd and probably would try to do that. So I do understand if that's your natural inclination, and just like go with whatever feels right. Follow your unique intuition, boo. But for the vast majority of viewers, I'm going to encourage you to focus on relaxing. Just focus on relaxing. Because when we relax, our subconscious mind feels at ease, and it's going to be easier for our subconscious mind to engage with the information. And that's what I'm really trying to do here. Think of it kind of like the movie Inception. Like, I want to get in there and talk to your subconscious mind, and over time, gradually, you're going to begin to understand these kind of heady science and neurophysio-psych concepts, and more importantly, you're going to deepen best possible timeline by increasing the health of your nervous system. Today's video is going to build on the concepts of last week's video as we, like I said before, dive deeper into the process by which neurons that fire together wire together. Because neurons are like muscles, and like so many things in life, they work if you work them. And that's part of what makes ASMR so amazing. Every time you take the time to get the tingles, you're not just getting the tingles today, you're actually wiring your nervous system and priming it to experience positive emotions like relaxation and connection, not just in this moment, but also in the future. So I think that's a pretty cool part of ASMR, if I do say so myself. And that's how bottom up techniques like ASMR wire you to go create your best possible timeline. And that's a little bit of what we're going to be discussing in this video. So bottom up techniques are techniques where the body is sending messages to the mind. And it's a two-way street, right? So the mind also sends messages to the body, and those are top down techniques. And some techniques actually go both ways. Meditation, for example, some people say it's a top-down technique, other people say it's a bottom-up technique. I think it's both. Porque no los dos. So other examples of bottom-up techniques that I really like a lot, ASMR, obviously, it's the best. EFT tapping, if you don't know what that is, highly recommend going down that rabbit hole. I tap every single day before bed. It puts me to bed. I absolutely love it. And there are some videos on my channel about tapping, and more videos on my Patreon about tapping as well. So that's one of my favorite bottom-up techniques for wiring my nervous system. Other wonderful techniques I enjoy a lot. Yoga is a really good one. Yoga shows your body and your mind and just the totality of your being that movement matters, and it's a great way to help you process the things that get stored in your body. There's a really good book called The Body Keeps the Score about how a lot of times, even though parts of us might defend and deflect against some of the more difficult things that we go through, the body remembers. And so there can be a lot of healing when you work on somatic exercises and experiences. Yoga is a great way to do that. Dance is another really wonderful way. Massage, even just like wiggling like a wet dog. There's a reason why dogs do that. There's a reason why ducks do that. They're moving that energy so that it doesn't get stored and trapped in the body, become stress, become inflammation, and prime us, switch our epigenetics, and prime us for illness. So little did you know, ASMR is actually doing a lot for you, and it's a very powerful self-care method. Top-down practices. This is where your mindfulness comes in, right? So this is where your mind sends signals to your body of positive emotion, things like levity, love, acceptance, gratitude. All of those messages matter, and they can really affect your nervous system. And that's what ASMR is doing. That's what all of this today is about. When we wire those neuronal connections positive emotion and we process the things that happen to us somatically, we change physically, right? So there's, I think, a lot of misunderstanding about the overlap in the Venn diagrams between what's happening physically and what's happening psychologically. Like when someone says that's not physically addictive, it's psychologically addictive, that makes no sense. That actually makes no sense, because anything that's happening on a psychological level is happening on a physical level. So when we use bottom up and top down practices together, it can be really, really powerful tools for transformation and for deliberate manifestation, which matters because, as Gabor Mate and so many other brilliant minds of today teach us, trauma doesn't happen in an objective event, which is kind of like mind-blowing when you first think about it, right? So it's not the horrible thing that is traumatizing. It's the subjective experience of the horrible thing. That's kind of confusing. I know it can sound kind of triggering, so let's come up with an impromptu example. If a person gets lit on fire, that's very traumatizing, right? For the vast majority of people, not everyone, and we'll get into that in a second. But if I light this cup on fire, that's not traumatizing. The cup isn't traumatized. It can be completely destroyed, but not traumatized along the way, right? So that's why it's so important for us to be deliberate about cultivating these regulated nervous systems and take care of ourselves so that we can deal with the obstacles that will present us. Life will present everybody as optimally as possible. So that's a little bit about why you might want to wire your nervous system to be regulated. And in case your self-loathing part is real big, do it for the people that you love, because when you are regulated and self-sufficient and at peace, it's better for the people who love you. You can show up better for your friends, your family, your children, your job, whatever it is that you value. It will be empowered by a healthier nervous system. And how do we do that? Well, there are a lot of different practices that you can get into to empower your capacity for resiliency and positive emotion, right? So I alluded to this earlier, but taken to the extreme, and this isn't going to be probably you nor me, but taken to the extreme, the beyond wildly impressive extreme, there have been actual monks, plural, who have lit themselves completely on fire and sat down, awaiting their passing without ever flinching. And they did that with years of deliberate finish my sentence for me. By cultivating their nervous systems deliberately for years. That's how they do that. That's how strong you can become if you take nervous system regulation to the wild extreme. Now, most of us aren't going to be doing those top-down, bottom-up practices 24/7 the way that these monks probably do. But all of us can benefit from listening to ASMR. And by the way, there's a lot of people. I used nervous system dysregulation. I know, I lived it. And then once I started working on my nervous system and toning my vagus nerve, all of a sudden I was like, oh, ASMR is nice. So, totally a thing. Just so you're aware. Just saying. Okay, why am I going over all of this science? I want to illustrate this with an exercise because I think that these concepts can seem a little like, okay, where is this going? What is happening? So I want to start with an exercise. I want you to take a moment right now and look around the room around you. Look at the space. I want you to find everything in the room around you that's the color blue. I want you to look high and low. Look to your left, look to your right. Find everything that's the color blue. Just take a moment. I'll wait. Okay, now I want you to close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, I want you to focus your attention. And I want you to think about and try to remember how many things can you remember in the space around you that has a significant amount of the color white. Open your eyes. Life is like that. Like my Baba Ram Dass says, you see what you look for. So since we get to know that neurons that fire together get wired together, and we know that we see what we look for, let's prime our minds and bodies to feel good by looking for things that make us feel good. Things like ASMR. Because thanks to Sean Acker's work at Harvard, where he studies positive psychology, we get to know that the happiness advantage makes people work smarter, not harder. And that's just one of the ways that ASMR is serving you, not just today, but also priming you for ripples of positivity and therefore success in all of your endeavors. So, without further ado, I bring you the science of ASMR, how neurons that fire together get wired together in the process known as synaptic